Hi, this is Joey Sigurdsson, founder of Crankwheel, welcoming you all to another Crankwheel podcast about how our customers use screen sharing and what they do in their business. Today we have with us Nigameash Harihar, product manager at Marketing Pros. Welcome, Nigameash.
Thank you, Joey.
So how's it going? I'm over here in Iceland where the weather today is absolutely terrible. We had a big storm last night. How about yourself?
I am here in New Delhi, India. The weather is average. It's not too good. Winter's about to start setting in.
Winter's about to start setting in. Okay. I'm pretty sure that means something different over in your part of the world than where
Absolutely.
I am. All right. So Nigameash, I understand that you work with different types of businesses to help them improve their digital footprint. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. So I work with companies to try to increase sales on their website, whether organically or through paid means. For me, a website is a defining moment for any business when they're online. So I try to improve the website starting with the layout, the usability, how clean a design is. And once those core fundamentals have been met, then we come up with a marketing plan for a business to see what exactly is it that they're trying to do. Do they want more customers? Do they want more sales? Do they just want to brand themselves? Do they just want impressions of their website to show up so people know that they exist? What exactly is the goal of a website for that business?
Mm-hmm. Right. So that makes sense. So you start actually with the fundamentals of just the design and layout of the website, but you take it all the way through to how do you market this and how do you and what's the end goal of the marketing,
That's
right?
correct.
That's interesting. Do you see that? Do you have a lot of competition in that area, or is this sounds like a more sort of full stack approach than what I typically hear about?
There is definitely a lot of competition in this area. In New Delhi itself, I'm sure there are like probably over 1,000 different agencies that say they're a full service digital marketing agency. They do SEO work, they do online marketing, they do PPC ads. So there's definitely a lot of competition in terms of just putting those words out there. But in terms of actually providing quality services, there aren't a lot of players in the market.
Right. So quality is your main
That's
differentiator
right.
at Marketing Pros. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. And how do you yourself gain customers typically? How are you getting them through your website as inbound? Are you doing outbound? What's your typical process?
So I get a few referrals from clients that I'm working with currently. Other than that, I have a cold email campaign, outbound email campaign going on at an automated level. So that also brings in some leads, like a few leads every week. That's for me. It's about targeting the right industry and the right market with the perfect offer that works for them, something that'll get them interested. I'm not interested in getting 100 people to me who say they want a service. I just want to reach that one person who actually understands the value of what is being provided here.
Right. Right. Can you give me like an example of this kind of the perfect offering or the correct offering for a particular segment, like an example of something you've done along those lines?
So with cold email campaigns, it's typically a 4-part sequence that goes out.
Mm-hmm.
So first, it's about figuring out the industry, the size of the industry, who you want to target, whether it's the founder level, so which would be your top management, managing directors, CEOs, or do you want to hit the salespeople, the marketing people? Who is it that you want to target? What countries do you want to look at? Or do you just want to look at a particular state or a city? And within that, what kind of offer would they find valuable? And this is not this is not a salesy pitch for someone. It's just something that they could find a value. So when I start off, it's about giving a link to potentially a resource that I have on my website, or a case study of something else. Just something that they would find useful in their day-to-day activities. Whether, even if they're a marketing agency, I'm sure if there's a great blog post on how to conduct the perfect SEO audit, they would find it useful. They would derive some value out of it.
Right. Makes sense. And is it about relationship building after
It
that,
is.
or how do you take it forward? It is, yeah.
So all these people that get the emails, I don't know them at a one-to-one level. It's complete cold emails. So definitely it has to start off at the basic relationship building level to see how, if we vibe, what happens in the future is something that we can only tell once we start off with the relationship building.
Hmm. Right. That makes sense. How about leads that are coming in through your website? Do you find is inbound the majority, or is your outbound generation generating most of your traffic?
Right now, it's the outbound that's generating most of the traffic.
Okay. Yeah. But for your website, how are you getting folks onto the site? Finding you.
Normally, it's through the blog articles. So whether a particular resource is published on the website, or yeah, I would say it's mostly just the blog articles that drive traffic to the website.
Right. Yeah. So the kind of content
Exactly.
marketing. Yeah. Exactly. It's so competitive with all the rest, like search engine marketing and all these other types of marketing. It's so incredibly competitive. I don't know. I'm not sure a lot of companies manage to really squeeze as much value out of that as they might think they do.
That's true. A lot of companies produce a lot of good content, but they don't know how to put it out there to drive traffic to their website.
Hmm. Exactly. So once you start engaging with your leads, is that when you use screen sharing, or is it at another stage?
So I use screen sharing for a couple of different reasons. So one would be website development itself. During the development phase, sometimes you can't make a website live just the way it is, but you still want to showcase what you're working on.
Right.
So a Crankwheel works really well for that. It's super simple to use. They can use it on any device. So sometimes people are using a mobile phone or a tablet. So there's nothing to install. It's super easy, works really well. Other than that, one of the tools that I use to get some analytics on a website is Google Search Console. So
Hmm.
it's a free tool that just gives you analytics on what people are searching for on Google when your website when they either come to your website or they just potentially see your website but don't visit it. So you can get stats on page-wise stats with the keywords people are searching for. So sometimes it's easier for me to explain to a customer how it works, what kind of stats you can derive every time there's a link that's being built to a particular page on their website, how it affects the rankings of those pages as well. So screen sharing works really well for that as well.
Okay, so you're taking them through the Google Search Console tool within a screen sharing session, just showing them, what you're discovering
Yes,
there.
that's right.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. So you're kind of using screen sharing in a bit of a consultative type of facility, like you're showing them what you're building, maybe getting their input on it live, and maybe even tweaking the website as you screen share to them, and then you're showing them like why you're making particular choices, or what kind of keywords are working for
That's
them.
right.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I find this is a theme actually with very active users of Crankwheel, is that it's not just a sales tool, or if it's a sales tool, it's in a very sort of consultative kind of facility where you're really building a relationship and helping your prospect out through the sales process.
Absolutely. I think it's very important for customers to be educated and make an informed decision when they're either looking at services or even trying to understand how it works and what's working for them, what's not working, and why something is being done in a particular way.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, so in your sales process, before you get to this stage where you're actually building the website, building a website, or analyzing what you should do in terms of marketing and things like that. Before you get to that stage, and after the initial cold outreach or them being inbound, how do you start engaging with them? Is it do you take a phone call? Is it do you set up a meeting ahead of time? How do you? What's your process?
Normally, I do a discovery call to understand what they're looking for, what they're interested in, how I could add value to their business. It's really important to understand what a customer wants before you can start, I guess, guiding them through the process.
Mm-hmm.
So it always begins with a discovery call to kind of concretely understand what they want, what they're looking for.
Right, absolutely. And so in your business, is it typically after the discovery call, is it typically like a custom quote for each customer every time, or do you have some sort of packages that you're selling? How does that work?
Normally, it's customized depending on the requirements of the client.
Hmm. Very good, very good. Okay, great. And let's see. So customers who visit your website, and come in through inbound, like they're looking at your blog and stuff like that. What is the best way that you've found to convert these customers, these leads, from leads into prospects? Somebody who's starting to engage with you. What do you find works?
Normally, I try to offer them something of value on the website itself
Mm-hmm.
and have a way either they sign up through a form for an email list, or they could get in touch with me if they want a particular consultation for a particular subject that they're looking at. I've also got recently installed a chat box on the website, so it gives trigger. It has trigger actions on specific pages, so customers know that I'm available if they need any assistance or they have any questions. But I try to make sure that it doesn't seem like I'm stalking them through every page of the website.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty important. You get these sites, right, where there's a call to action, and because you were about to leave the site, there's a call to action, and then when you go down there, there's another call to action that pops up, and everything is crazy. So yeah, that's probably important to avoid. So thinking about Crankwheel again, are there any features that would be top of mind for you in terms of what we might implement in our next upcoming versions? Anything that you find is missing?
Not at the moment. I don't think I've used Crankwheel enough because it's a very basic usage that I have as of right now. But I'm sure I will email you at some point in the future when I reach that stage.
Yeah, I'd be very, very happy to hear any ideas that you have for how it could work better for businesses like yours. One of the things that you might look into trying is just the instant demos feature for lead capture on your website. Did you ever take a look at that?
I have not taken a look at that. I do have a Zendesk article with how to implement, how to add instant demos to your website for WordPress, but I haven't actually implemented it yet.
Right. Yeah, we actually are just about to release a plugin for WordPress that'll make that process even easier. The plugin itself is ready. It's just it has to go through some review before it gets onto the WordPress marketplace. But hopefully this week we'll launch it, and you can do that even easier. But that's one of the ways you could engage with your customer on your website, is just to offer them for you to call them back. And if you're not around, it can just be like book a meeting with me for that discovery phone call. Yeah. So very cool. So Nigameash, you have potentially quite a large audience listening in, as we have about 10,000 people on our mailing list. So, is there anything you'd like to leave them with? Some word of wisdom or call to action?
I want to let everyone know that Specific pages on a website, every page on a website ranks for specific keywords. I think that's something most people either don't know or they don't realize. So, for instance, if you have 5 pages on a website, every page is ranking for a specific set of keywords. So, it's really important to optimize your website around these specific set of keywords, knowing through analytics, knowing what you're already ranking for, seeing what you're ranking for, but you don't have proper content for, and optimize your website to improve the kind of content that you're already ranking for. So, Google is already giving everyone free visitors on the website. It's really easy to capitalize on it just as long as you spend a little bit of effort to optimize it.
So you're advocating more of a sort of intentional or strategic planning around which web page on your site should contain which keywords and so on.
Absolutely. I think it's really important.
Do you find this is one of the things your clients need help with?
I think most the entire job of a search engine like Google is to figure all of these things out by itself. But if we just like nudge Google in the right direction, your rankings are a lot faster.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And do you think the same things are working, are going to be working next year, 2018, that have been so far? I guess it's evolving all
It's
the time.
evolving all the time, yeah. So we don't know what's gonna work next year or the year after that.
Yeah. I guess it's a pretty deep specialization, understanding what works for SEO and what used to work and doesn't anymore and so forth. So I guess you're in that world day in and day out, right? Okay, great. Well, Nigameash, I really appreciate you joining me on this Crankwheel podcast. This is number 2 in the series, so you're almost first. It's been really great speaking with you and getting some insight into your business at Marketing Pros. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.